If you clicked on this, you probably heard of the Unsubscribed podcast. It's a podcast with Eli Double Tap, the Fat Electrician, Brandon Herrera, and Donut Operator, and like a revolving door of like a million other people who show up every other episode. They recently had Tyler Andrews on the podcast. Now, Tyler Andrews is an American veteran who suffered from wounds in combat that led to him losing one of his arms and one of his legs. And it's actually a really good episode. I would recommend you go watch if you haven't seen it already. Tyler here, he was one of the soldiers at the Abbey Gate that was injured in the terrorist attack, which killed approximately 200 civilians and then also 13 US soldiers. And Tyler was lucky enough to survive. He was injured in the attack and he lost both his arm and his leg. Now, the episode went up today and it's controversial because at the time, and even somewhat to this day, Biden administration officials basically completely denied that they did anything wrong in the run up to this. And despite the fact that everybody knows that this incident could have been completely prevented if the Biden administration acted with any competence, had some commanders in place who knew what they were doing, or just genuinely didn't set up the soldiers to fail, they've tried to hide the failures that led up to this. And that's to the point where I think some of the administration officials still to this day will deny that there was anybody shooting at the soldiers even after the explosion went off. And Biden himself downplayed the attack. Honestly, it was disgusting. The Biden administration's response to it was completely disgusting, and they basically threw our service members under the bus to cover their disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan. That being said, the Unsubscribed boys posted this tweet, advertising the episode that they were putting up. And so they actually had somebody respond to this tweet, anonymous here, saying, if an IED goes off with 150 ball bearings hitting you, I don't care if you're wearing AR-500 steel, you are now dead. You would bleed out and no hospital on earth could save you. We need to stop platforming proven liars like McPhee and this guy. Now, of course, this is a ridiculous statement to make because obviously the proof is in the fact that Tyler Andrews is still alive. However, because of the controversial nature and how politicized the attack on the Abbey Gate became because the Biden administration was trying to cover up their failures, it's unfortunately not uncommon to see people have this completely wrong opinion of what happened. Quite frankly, I think it's disgusting to try and say that somebody who literally lost his arm and his leg, you can tell that he's missing his arm and his leg, for you to sit there and say that there's no way that this happened to him because he would be dead, it's just stupid. Obviously, this happened to him. His arm and his leg didn't just walk away on their own. This poor guy sacrificed half of his limbs for his country, and he's being called out by random anonymous people on Twitter. And this pissed off a lot of people for good reason, obviously, including, of course, the Unsubscribed podcast responding. They said, he's a proven liar. Share this proof you speak of. Here's proof of him being blown up and almost dying, by the way. And then I had to censor it for YouTube, but this here was a picture of Tyler in the hospital after he survived the explosion. We had the Fat Electrician basically typing up a complete and utter novel here in response to that tweet. He said, I'm going to explain this to you on multiple levels. Not because I think I can change your mind. You're obviously too stupid. I'm going to take the time to explain it because I want everyone else to truly appreciate how stupid you are. In this thread, you're comparing ball bearings from an IED to supersonic bullets. Bullets are channeled directed explosion shooting, one piece of metal in one direction very quickly. An IED is an explosion in every direction, meaning the shrapnel is traveling way slower than a bullet in every direction. This is why the kill radius of an IED is measured in tens of feet, and the kill range on a bullet is measured in hundreds, thousands of yards. Ball bearings doesn't really give you an idea of size, and all it means is metal ball. The average ball bearing size used in an IED is 5 to 9 millimeters, which is bigger than a BB from a BB gun. So again, you're most likely comparing subsonic BBs to a hypersonic 62 grain bullet. Ballistically, you are stupid. How do you think he lost half of his limbs? You think he just woke up that way and concocted a cool story and the DoD and every major news outlet just went with it? You think it's highly unlikely somebody could survive that? No shit, that's probably why a ton of people died. Logically and socially, you're stupid. Your existence is the greatest argument for something very bad that I've ever seen. I hope you have the day you deserve. I had to censor some of his words here because he went pretty hard. Can't blame the Fat Electrician though, because this comment deserved a pretty harsh response. Eli responded and said, so let me get this straight. All accounts of this day and all the doctor and medical records are all made up. Got it. Also, why didn't he bleed out? OMG, why didn't we think about that or ask him or learn that he had 57 liters of blood transfusion to keep him alive? Donut Operator responded with, you brought this on yourself. Then of course we had Brandon Herrera jumping in with a meme saying, I need the worst take you have. No, that's too terrible. Then we had Zachary Bell chiming in and saying, I've literally seen the scars on his body. Nobody would do this for a bit. Use your brain. Don't you ever put a real hero like Tyler in the same sentence as clowns like Shrek, which is another person he mentioned in his original tweet. I get it. It sucks to realize the wild stories you believed were as fake as Santa. If you sit with it for even a minute, you'll see you're not actually mad at TVA. That's Tyler. You're mad that you fell for the most obvious con artists on planet Earth, like painfully obvious. You had Phil Lamonte, who I know from the Tim Pool show, MattyO responding saying, I'm just here to like all the comments shitting on you. Then you had Ronnie Atkins from Funker530 saying, listen, you non-essential vitamin, that's my friend. I have personally touched the ball bearings still in his body under his skin that haven't been removed. Just because your feeble mind can't fathom the mental and physical embodiment of resilience necessary to pull through something like this doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It's right here for you to shut the F up and listen to. It's Tyler. And then finally you had Angry Cops with this wonderful response image saying just simply, my brother in Christ. So it's pretty clear that this guy got absolutely destroyed in the comments. I don't understand how anybody could have an opinion like this, even if you just watch the episode. It's pretty clear that he's genuinely affected by what happened that day, and it's actually quite an inspiring story how he survived and now he's making the best of it. I mean, the truth of the matter is that there's a lot of Americans who have never understood hardship, they've never experienced pain, they've never gone through something that threatens their life, right? I remember when I was younger, I would always think about death and be like, oh, you know, it's not something I have to worry about yet, because when you're young, you feel invincible, right? And I'm sure this guy feels like that, right? He has no concept of actually coming close to dying. And then one day, you know, it hits you, you have something happen. I had a big medical thing and I realized that I can die. You always have the conception knowing that eventually you will die, but it's not until something happens that actually makes it real for you that you really understand the concept of this could be it. And so I think this guy's probably just somebody who's spoiled, who's never experienced any issue in his life that's brought him to the point where he realizes that the world isn't black and white. You know, stuff happens and sometimes you survive. So, well, I definitely disagree with this guy. I'm sure at some point when he grows up a bit, he'll change his mind and come around on this, because quite frankly, people like Tyler Andrews here, who not only served our country, but gave their limbs for this country, they deserve a lot more respect than he was given by this random commenter on Twitter. And I think that's one of the problems with social media. I'm going to finish this by saying that Tyler is an American hero, and I'm going to ask you guys, do you think that this commenter here is just stupid or just completely out of touch, or is he just rage baiting? Unrelated, but maybe Biden was right to downplay it. After all, we know whose fault the global war on terror really was.
If I would have been born like 10 years, 12 years earlier, I could have prevented 9/11. Because
what are you, Mark Wahlberg? What's happening right now? Yeah. I could have stopped it. What's going on?
There have been a lot of in first class.
I found when I was an avionic electronic technician in the Navy, I found a flaw in all civilian and military aircraft where they haven't accounted for buildings being built the past 25 years to avoid automatically in the navigation systems.
Like they do for terrain. And
like they do it for terrain, but they haven't accounted for skyscrapers in the past like 30, fucking since skyscrapers have been built.
Yeah.
So I brought that to Northrop Grumman and worked with engineers on it, and they corrected that and started putting skyscrapers in the navigation systems.
So you got a Navy Achievement Medal for that.
I got a Navy Achievement Medal for it, and I was only an E3 at the time.
Oh my God, congratulations. But also,
obviously, I'm joking, but it is crazy to think about just how different the world would be if Donut Operator had been born like 20 years earlier and managed to fix this before 2001, because he's not exaggerating when he says he probably could have stopped GWAT. So it's kind of unfortunate that he wasn't able to, but that's just how the cookie crumbles, I guess. Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching all the way till the end. Remember to like and subscribe. Have a great day, and God bless you.